یه اشاره کوتاه بکنم اول به مراسمی که در پیش داریم. همینطور که اشاره کردن روز 15 فوریه آقای معین در شهر فولسون برنامه داره. آقای عاطفی برنامه‌شون رو تمدید کردن به غیر از 16 هم که سولدات شده بوده 15 هم برنامه گذاشتن. فکر می‌کنم خانه ایران هم خانم فرنودی رو دارن در روز 15 هم اگه اشتباه نکنم و امیدوارم که فرصت بکنیم بتونیم به هر کدومی که دوست داریم و علاقمند هستیم بریم و لذت ببریم. میخواستم خواهش بکنم که اگه اجازه بدین باز قبل از صحبت‌هایشون 1 دقیقه بلند شیم. ما به احترام انوش حاذق اعظم، دوست بسیار خوبمون آقای کامیز حاذق اعظم و خانواده حاذق اعظم، یکی از عزیزان خودشون از دست دادن. واقعا این یه تراژدی بود در چند روز گذشته. نمیدونم چجور توضیح بدم که واقعا غیر قابل پیش بینی، غیر قابل تحمل و آرزو میکنم که خداوند کمک بکنه که صبر داشته باشم و به احترام به وجود شهاب حاذق اعظم که در این مدتی که داشتیمش و خانواده حاذق اعظم خواهش میکنم که به پا خیزیم و 1 دقیقه سکوت اختیار. ممنون از لطفتون. Now we are inviting Bert was here at 6 o'clock and he wants to start talking. I said it's a Persian style. We get together at 6, we talk for half an hour, 45 minutes, then we manga, then we talk again, and you got to be about 7 o'clock. I was not that far.
No, you pretty much right on.
All right, please.
I'm up?
Yes.
Is that my cue?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Let's do that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. It is a pleasure to be here. So, you probably want to know who I am. My name is Bert Anderson. I'm an attorney in California. My practice areas are predominantly workers' compensation. That is what I've been doing for the past 17 years. Before then, I was a deputy district attorney with Contra Costa County. But I moved up to Sacramento and I decided to start practicing workers' compensation. I would say approximately 6 or so years ago, I started practicing in Social Security law as well. And I should preface that by saying that when I mean Social Security law, what I'm talking about is applications for Social Security disability and Supplemental Security Income, or what we call SSI. I'm going to go through those here, but just so you know what it is that I normally deal with. Now, when I was talking to Mo about what is it exactly that I should talk about in this presentation, and he told me, well, I'm sure people have a lot of questions, but just make it your basic Social Security. I'm like, okay, yeah, I can do that. So I went through and I did an outline of basic Social Security, and then I hear people, what I understood, about what people are doing here, and some of the things that I'm going to be talking about may be very basic for you, and you may probably, I hope, already know. But just bear with me. I'm sure there's something that's going to come out during this half hour or so that you are going to have some use of. About me, I am, perhaps like many of you, I am not born in the U.S. I was born in Sweden. I grew up in Sweden. I came over to the U.S. when I was 20. I've lived in the western United States ever since. I went to law school at Brigham Young University in Utah. If you ever get a chance to spend 3 years in Utah, don't. So anyway, I got the opportunity to get a job down in the Bay Area, which, as far as climate is concerned, is vastly superior to Utah. In Utah, you need an oversized air conditioner and an oversized heater. I don't know, they messed that up. Anyway, like I said, I went to law school in Utah, and then I moved over to the Bay Area, and I've been in California ever since. I'm married, I have a son, he's 16, I think he's 25. And so, Social Security. The whole concept of Social Security in the United States basically started back in 1935. They have something called the Social Security Act of 1935 that outlined what basic benefits that people should be able to get if they are old or if they are disabled. It's not a shocker that this came about just after the Great Depression in the late 20s. There were a lot of people after the Great Depression that went through incredible hardships, and they did a study in Wisconsin, of all places. Swedes, yeah. They did a study in Wisconsin of people who were in debtor's prison. You might not know what debtor's prison is, but basically it's people who owed a lot of debt. They thought the best way for them to pay back what they owed was to throw them in jail. I don't know how that worked out, probably not pretty well, because they started interviewing them and they came quickly to the realization that the reason why they were in debt to begin with was because they were either old or disabled. So they thought, we need to do something about this. And if there's one thing that the Great Depression taught us, is that this country was in desperate need of a security net. And there were many things that happened in the early 30s. There were a lot of changes within the way the stock market worked. There were some acts that came about around that time regarding how the stock market should operate, securities, and also the Social Security Act of 1935. And there were several different benefits that they put into law during that time. The first and foremost, and what I think most people think about when you talk about Social Security, is retirement. Now, what you might not know is that not everyone in the United States is entitled to Social Security. There are some counties and some states that have a carve-out provision, usually known as 218 provisions, that they have to have authorized by the Social Security Administration to basically produce their own version of a Social Security safety net. Other than that, if you're not a part of one of those 218 plans, then you have to pay into Social Security. It is not voluntary, it is mandatory, and you pay in by how much money you make. And there's a cap on when they start to not deduct money anymore for it. And right now that cap is $117,000 a year. Anything above that is not subject to a deduction for Social Security. Now, if you are, like most people are, if you are employed by another person, then in your paycheck, pay stub every month, you will see a deduction for Social Security, and that is 6.2% of your paycheck. If you are self-employed, which I know that a lot of you people are, you pay double that. And the other 6.2% comes from the employer. So if you are an employee of someone, you pay in 6.2 and the employer pays 6.2. If you are self-employed, you pay the entire 12.4% by yourself. That's part of your self-employment taxes, which I'm sure that a lot of you are familiar with. In order to qualify for Social Security, you need to have 40 credits throughout your lifetime. And you wonder, well, how do you get these magical credits? Well, you get them by paying into the system. And it doesn't take much. You have to make $1,320 per quarter to make one credit. You have a maximum of 4 credits per year. And if you do some quick math there, which since I'm a lawyer is not my strong suit, I figured out that you have to work for 10 years in order to qualify for Social Security benefits. That will give you 40 credits. There are going to be some glaring problems with these systems that you are probably going to quite realize. First of all, back in 1935, as well as the 40s and 50s, and heck, even now, who's the primary breadwinner in a family? The husband, usually, right? Especially it used to be that way. Well, that creates some problems right off the bat, because that means that way back when, if women did not work, women did not pay into the Social Security system, and that also means that they were not entitled to Social Security benefits. So how did they cure that? Well, they cured that by making it possible for women to claim their husband's credits. And that's also true if they got divorced. And that's also true if the spouse died. So you basically have an option there. You can either use your credits or your spouse's credits. So the size of the ultimate check that you get from Social Security is going to depend on how much you've paid into the system throughout your lifetime. Social Security calculate that check by taking the 35 greatest years of income. If you work more than 35 years, they're going to take the 35 years that you made the most amount of money. And if you worked less than that, they're going to calculate that the remaining years are at a zero. So that would make it so that people would benefit from working longer. And that's true even now. Which is the full retirement age right this moment is what?
67.
Close? I heard 67. Anyone else?
65.
65. Close. Anyone else?
66.
Did I hear 66?
Yes.
Also close. It's actually 66 years old and 6 months. And they are changing the retirement age from 66 up to 67, and it is 66 years and 6 months right now. It will change with 2 months every year for the next 3 years until it's 67. So 67 would be in 2021. You can start claiming Social Security at age 62. 62. However, you're not going to get your full amount per month if you claim it at age 62. There is a reduction if you claim it earlier than 66 and 6 months. The reduction if you do it at age 62 is 30% less than what you would get at 66 and 6 months. At age 63, it's 25% less. At age 64, it's 20% less. At age 65, it's 13.3% less. And at age 66, it is 6.7% less. So you can start claiming it early if you need to. I would encourage you, if you don't have to, that you don't. I encourage most people actually to try to wait as long as you can to claim it. Thereby you get a higher monthly amount once you start to collect Social Security. This is especially true if you work. If you start claiming Social Security before full retirement age, if you make money, this year you can make up to $17,040 per year. If you make more than that, then Social Security is going to start to deduct money from your Social Security check. They're going to deduct $1 for every $2 that you earn above that $17,040. So you realize pretty quickly that if you are going to work, it's probably better not to collect Social Security if you can swing it. I mentioned that there is a spousal benefit as well. If you are a spouse of either a retired or a disabled worker and you're over 62 years old and you care you can claim your spouse's benefits if you are over 62, or if you care for a child who is under 16, or if the child is over 16 but disabled. Even a divorced spouse of a retired or disabled worker is entitled to benefits if, again, you're over 62 and the marriage has lasted for at least 10 years. And the divorce has to have been final for 2 years. So there are plenty of rules. Now, the rules that I'm going through here right now, they are subject to change, just so we know, as most laws are. And to be perfectly honest with you, the current administration, it wouldn't surprise me if some of these rules do change. But I've done my best to try to come up with the correct rule the way that it is currently. Survivor's insurance is another type of insurance within Social Security law that you want to be aware of. If you are the surviving spouse, including the surviving divorced spouse of a deceased injured worker, if the spouse is over the age of 60, you can claim survivor's insurance. It goes down to age 50 if you are the disabled surviving spouse of a deceased worker. And it goes down even further if you take care of a child who's under 16 or a disabled child under 22. It's also available for dependent parents of a deceased worker who is over the age of 62. Something to keep in mind. These are survivor's benefits, which means that the person who worked has to have been dead. So if you're thinking of your parents, that means you must first die. Just think about that a little bit. Yeah, that's right. It's not so much fun anymore, is it? Yeah. All right, here we go. I'm sorry. This can be quite boring of a topic, really. So I try to sort of liven it up a little bit. I hope that doesn't offend anyone. All right. Well, anyway. Yes.
میخوام ازتون خواهش کنم که اگر کسی هست که متوجه صحبت‌ها نمیشه، من یه در واقع خلاصه از این مطالبی که گفتن تا اونجایی که ذهنم اجازه میده مطرح کنم که بعد ایشون ادامه بدن. I'm asking the people that if there are some people that they do not understand the terms and all the explanation in English, so I can just in nutshell give some information about what you said.
Absolutely.
So,
if there is something that you have not understand, I'm sorry, my Persian is really non-existent, I guess. I can do the whole thing in Swedish like that. But I have a feeling that would create a lot more difficulty than solve. Yes, sir.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
You said when the spouse one dies,
yeah,
then the other spouse can collect Social Security.
That's correct.
But isn't it true that they have to have a kid, otherwise the other spouse is not able to collect their Social Security?
Survivor.
No, I think it's survivor's benefits. I don't think you need to have a child.
No,
You're pretty sure about that?
I'm pretty sure.
You know what? I will be happy to look that up. But you heard it here. I'm not aware of that rule, if that is in case a rule. But I have no reason to doubt what you're saying. But it didn't come up in my research.
I just remember reading it somewhere, but I may be wrong. But
okay. All right.
I guess I'll go back and read it again.
Yeah, you know what? I will as well. You always have to learn more. This is a give and take kind of a situation here. So.
Please, would you please explain in Farsi just?
Yes. ایشون اول اینطوری شروع کردن که سوشال سکیوریتی اصلا از کجا نیازش مطرح شده. زمانی بوده درست بعد از اینکه یه رکود اقتصادی شدید تو امریکا بوده حدود 1930 خورده‌ای که مردم خیلی به بانک‌ها یا به بقیه جاها قرض خیلی زیادی داشتن و نمیتونستن بدن و اینا رو دولت آورده انداخته تو زندان و از اونجا بعد از مطالعاتی فهمیدن که اینا یا دیسیبلن یا نمیتونن کار کنن یا که سنشون بالا رفته
برای همین وقتی که این نیاز دیده شده براش یه برنامه ریختن و اینطوری مقرر کردن که یه در واقع یه سکیوریتی بلانکت یا یه چیزی اونجا باشه که کسی که به سن بالا رسید یا اینکه به دلیلی دیگه از کار افتاد و توان کار کردن نداشت بتونه که از این پول برخوردار باشه و یه حالت در واقع بهزیستی استفادهش بشه. بعد اینطوری شروع شده و بعد قوانین هم که کامل هر موقعی که نیاز باشه عوض شده تا اینکه ما الان در جایی هستیم که توی سن 66 سالگی و به زودی 67 سالگی هر کسی که کار کرده به مقدار کاری که کرده خودش یه پولی از پیچکش یا از بیزینس شخصیش در یه حسابی گذاشته میشه و وقتی که این پول جمع میشه موقعی که به دلیلی اتفاقی براش میفته و یا اینکه در واقع به سن بازنشستگی که همون 66-67 میرسه از اون پول دولت بهش میده. حالا این آدم میتونه مثلا سن 62 سالگی دیگه مینیمم ویجه که میتونه اینو کلیم بکنه، یعنی بخواد که این سوشال سکیوریتی رو بگیره، خب در نتیجه مقدار کمتری میگیره. اگر هرچی بیشتر صبر کنه تا به اون سنی که باید برسه اونجا دیگه هر چیزی که خودش گذاشته همون مقدار رو میتونه برداره. اگر که سلف ایمپلوید باشه همه اینو از درآمدی که داره حدود 14 خورده درصد باید خودش بذاره، 12 خورده خودش بذاره. اگر که نه یک آدمی باشه برای کسی کار میکنه خودش 6 خورده و اون کسی هم که استخدامش کرده 6 خورده و این حساب به این شکل جمع میشه. دیگه چیز خیلی مهمتری به نظرم نمیرسه غیر از این که چون که خانوما معمولا در اون موقع ها کار نمیکردن یا همه شاغل نبودن دیدن که خب این نمیتونه سوروایو کنه بعد از اینکه اون برد وینر رو در واقع از دست میده، میان اینو مقرر میکنن که بعد از اینکه کسی که همسری که شاغله فوت میکنه این سوشال سکیوریتیش و مقداری که جمع شده اتوماتیکی به همسرش برسه، حتی اگر طلاق گرفته باشه و از این طلاق 2 سال گذشته باشه ولی 10 سال هم اینا مزدوج بوده باشن. که بعد مسئله دیگه اینه که حتی اگر که طلاق هم گرفته باشن این شامل میشه و اونم که مزوجه که این به طور اتوماتیکلی بهش تعلق میگیره. دیگه فکر نمی کنم چیزی دیگه یادم بیاد. او پنالتی بله، اگر که کسی بخواد زودتر بازنشسته بشه یه مقدار به عنوان پنالتی به اون چیزی که خودش تو این حساب بازنشستگیش گذاشته از اون کم میشه و میتونه اون سوشال سکیوریتیش رو بگیره و پنالتیش هم بپردازه.
What was the deduction percentage if you claim your what was the deduction percentage if you claim your social security at age of 62?
30%. 30%. So if you normally would get $1,000, if you claim it at 62, you would get 700.
بعد مسئله دیگه هم که گفتم مربوط به دیسابیلیتی، یعنی کسی که کار کرده و سوشال سکیوریتی داره اگر بچه دیسابیلیتی هم داشته باشه این سوشال سکیوریتی بعد از اینکه دیسیزه شاملش میشه و میتونه.
Yes.
So if you get reduced money if you claim early retirement, this is your money, right? So does it mean that it's going to last longer from the other side, or that 30% goes to government, or you basically lose that?
Oh, it just means that you will get a lower amount for the remainder of your life.
But you have there's a certain amount of money deducted from your paycheck.
Yes, there is.
Throughout your working life.
Yes, there
right?
is.
So then that's, let's say it's like a saving account for you that
Well,
government is going to give you little by little, right?
Well, in a sense, but it doesn't stop. I mean, it doesn't stop. You don't stop receiving it just because you have you turn 100.
No, I understand, but then my question is about early retirement.
Okay.
So you claim early retirement.
Right.
You instead of $1,000, you're going to get $700.
That's right.
Where that $300 go? Is it going to last longer?
Yeah, that's right.
Let's say you.
Yeah. That's what you need to get in order to collect it early. It's basically you're sort of gambling on really how long you're going to live. I mean, if you don't think that you're going to live longer than 65, then by all means collect it early. But if you're going to collect it, if you're enjoy what you're doing for a living, if you don't have any serious illnesses and so forth,
and then once
wait.
you reach age 67,
Yeah.
it's going to go up to
No.
1,000. It's going to last.
No, it's
going
going
to
to stay.
It's
It's going to stay at yeah. That's right.
I think what she's saying is that this is not a saving deposit that you get all of it back. It's
That's
a
right.
gamble that you start early,
Yeah.
you make it more or less than what you pay.
Well, I mean, it's really a prime example of socialism, right? I mean, it's a matter of everyone paying into a pot so that the people, when they get older, when they need it, they have money so they're not destitute. And that's also part of the reason why there is a limit, upper limit on the amount of money that you earn in order to contribute to Social Security. You have this $117,000, which I know it's a good income, but that gives you a cap on the amount of money that you can get per month. And they're talking about maybe increasing that, and logically speaking, that means that the cap or the amount of money that you can get per month would also then increase. But the devil's in the details, right? You never really know how they're going to draft up those legislations and those rules. But the way it is now, no, the amount of money you get per month, they can be cost of living increases. But the base amount that you got is determined by when you start collecting disability, Social Security. Yes, sir.
So at 67,
Yeah.
you still like to work. You workaholic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So you get the basically retirement plan.
Yeah.
And also you can work.
Yeah.
And nothing gonna.
You can once you reach full retirement. Once you reach full retirement, you can. But if you work before you reach full retirement age, that's when they start deducting money from your Social Security because
past
of
67, you're fine.
Yeah, past 67 is not a problem. Yes, sir.
So is the Social Security that we monthly put into this so-called pot,
Yeah.
you said, that doesn't exactly, it's not the exact amount that comes back to us.
No, it is not.
I just want to, because I think there's a misconception
Yes.
that whatever you put in, that's exactly how much you're going to get.
That is not true.
That's not the case.
That is not the case. No. This is really a communal pot.
Yeah.
Right. And then they have to determine with math, I guess. Again, I'm a lawyer. You have to determine then how much you need in this pot so that everyone, statistically speaking, should be able to collect until their date of death. And there are many variables. There's the variable of when you die. So if life expectancy increases for the entire country, then of course this pot is going to have to be substantially higher. And likewise, if people start collecting it early, they have to do something about that because otherwise the money's going to run out, which is why they come up with this idea of reducing the amount that you get.
Okay.
But it's not you put in $1,000, you can get $1,000 back. That's not the way it works.
من این قسمت رو میخواین یکم به فارسی توضیح بدم.
So you mentioned about the penalty for making money when you have early withdrawal.
Correct.
So if you make $2, $1 would go to Social Security.
Right.
Over 17,000.
Yeah.
Or that $1 is taxed.
No, it's reduced so that if you make $200 more than 17,000, they're going to reduce your Social Security payments by $100.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
I'm retired with a pension.
Uh-huh.
I work as a consulting engineer.
Okay.
And I never paid into Social Security or Medicare, so the benefits, they don't apply to me. But now that I work as a consulting engineer, I have to pay Social Security and Medicare, and there's no way I will complete that 40 plans for Social Security or Medicare to have any benefit for me.
I don't.
Why do I have to pay Social Security and Medicare? I figured that out of every dollar that I make as a consultant
Social Security and Medicare.
Yes.
And I'm only making about 50% of the income that I'm making.
I hear you.
Social Security and Medicare.
Thank you.
Thank you. No, I'm really not trying to make light out of it, but no, you're absolutely right. Since you had a pension, you probably paid.
Pretty high pension, and the
Yeah.
income is also pretty high.
Right.
So therefore, 50% of it going for taxes.
Yes.
That hurts.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And I'm very sorry for that. But you're right. It would be difficult.
Take a big long vacation instead.
Right.
Yeah, stop working.
But to her point,
But I don't have any family. And
Yeah.
I just get bored, so I have to work.
Yeah.
but to her point,
I'm with you. I should clarify. I did not write these rules. It's okay. So
Why you put it like this?
bounce. Yeah.
but to her point,
Yes.
She can actually collect Social Security. It's just not going to be the age that you normally do. Because if you continue working and hit those 40 points, then you might be able to get it at 75.
But I will never hit that 40 points.
Well, if you keep working, you will.
Next 10 years. I don't plan.
In 10 years.
You have to be optimistic.
It's true. Yes, sir.
There is a rumor in the non-syndicated news media
Yeah.
that the Social Security Fund has been already subsidizing other expenditure the government has, such as military and other areas of the national debt.
That's what I hear too.
And in the advent of influx reduction of the new workers in the younger age group,
Yes.
and influx increase of baby boomers,
Yep.
the fund available to the public for Social Security will be very scarce and basically sort of.
You know what? There've been a lot of discussion about Social Security running out of money at a particular date. But then they're also talking about that. Well, how can we avoid Social Security running out of money? This is one of those things. There, if I were emperor, I would probably do it a little bit differently than what is currently being done. And everyone seems to have a different resolution as to exactly how to save Social Security. There have been many things that have been suggested, such as privatizing Social Security. That couldn't possibly go wrong. Or allowing for higher deductions, allowing for higher income earners to put more money into the Social Security system. Whichever one of our beloved leaders chooses to fix Social Security, I have no idea. But I think the best way to try to support the way that you believe is the best way to save Social Security, vote. That's the only thing I can say. Vote.
My advice to the community is the sooner you start collecting, the better. The reason being,
Okay. All right.
if your life expectancy with the advent of our improvement in medicine
Yeah.
and increasing your life expectancy may give you a false hope that you may live 200 years,
Yeah.
right? But that's not going to be the case because you're not going to be able to collect that Social Security. It will be gone.
Yeah. There are a lot of people who think that. I am probably not that cynical, I guess. There are a lot of people who are, so I don't blame you for hearing that. How they're ultimately going to, I guess, rescue Social Security, I have no idea. And if you know, please tell me. We can make a killing in Vegas. But how that's going to be done, I just don't know. I saw a hand up here. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for all information tonight. My question is, what is the maximum amount of the Social Security we can get from the government? What is the maximum?
The maximum amount?
That's what you get.
Yeah, I swear I had this written down here as well.
I think it's about 30 something.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, that's what I seem to recall that as well. I think it's right around $3,800 or something like that.
That's the absolute maximum.
Per month.
35.
Per month.
Right around 34.
That's assuming that you pay at $117,000 or whatever the maximum was for 35 years.
How much was it? I'm sorry.
I think it's about 30. I think it's like right around $3,800.
$3,800 a month?
Yes, I think so. But that's assuming that you are
That's like you live in Bali.
you're paying you are
You paid the maximum.
you pay the maximum in, and you don't start to take out Social Security until age 70.
How is this calculated with couples that they each make 117 for 35? من سوال کردم که اگر هم زن هم شوهر هر دو مکس رو داده باشن چجوری این کالکولیت میشه چجوری برمی‌گرده؟
You can still collect your own Social Security disability, and the spouse can rely on the other spouse's credits.
So they both get it, or they both together get 38?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. There is a reduction if the couple is still married. It's a marvelous question, and frankly, it didn't come up in my research on it, but I'll be happy to look that up. So if anyone wants to have the information about how it affects spouses, I'll be happy to look that up.
Okay.
Is Social Security income taxable?
It can be. So the answer is maybe. It depends on where you live. It depends. Yeah, right. It depends on where you live, and it depends on how much money you make in excess of the Social Security, how much other income you have. But the answer to your question is yes. It can be. Yes, sir.
Thank you again. I have a two-part question. So
Yeah.
if you collect Social Security at age 62,
Yeah.
70% or so,
Uh-huh.
Does that get locked in, that percentage,
Yes.
for the rest of your life? And does the amount also get locked in, or
The amount gets locked in, but there are cost of living increases.
so it could go up and down?
Well, I don't think I've never seen it go down, but it keeps going up slowly.
No, but to his point, if the fund gets smaller,
Yeah.
then the amount also goes up.
Well, that's a possibility, but it hasn't happened yet, and we don't know what they're going to do with that. There can be many ways to correct that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, some people have some questions.
Okay.
If somebody is at age 55, does she qualify for disability? And does it affect the SSI at age 67?
Okay. I'm going to get to disability here in just a second. I opened up a door for a question, and then it was like a deluge of information. So yes, sir.
One question.
Yeah.
If you retire early,
Yeah.
62,
and
you said it's a cap like $17,000 some $100
Right.
for the second job, and then if you start collecting your TSP, is that considered as an income toward that 17, or that's different?
No, I don't think it does. No, I don't think it does. And I believe I've actually read something about that, so no. I don't believe it does. That's a very good question, though. Okay.
Is Social Security taxable income?
It can be. Yes, and it depends on how much money you make on top of the Social
But
Security.
if you don't have any other income and you're only relying on Social Security
Yes.
disability income, it's considered tax-free income, correct?
In
California, at least.
In California, it may be, but I don't want to make that as a broad statement that it's non-taxable income, because people are going to be, of course, with you always have deductions and so forth that you can make from income, and those can basically take care of whatever Social Security benefits that you may have.
What if you have passive income? Let's say you have rental income.
Yeah,
And you
they can
get
still
Social
that's still considered income, though.
But you're not working.
Right.
It's passive income.
Right.
And you're receiving your Social Security benefit, let's say.
Right.
$2,500 a month, and I have, say, 5 rentals, and I'm not working, so I'm just receiving passive income. Is my passive income going to affect my, or make my Social Security income taxable?
Well, your passive income is still taxed, right?
My passive income will be taxed.
Will be taxed, right. And so that counts towards income as well. As I understand it, it's still income, whether or not it's passive or active income, it's still income.
Okay.
No, but I think the point is, if you have passive income, it won't cover that $17,000 that you made.
Oh, okay.
That $17,000 out of the picture.
The Social Security is taxable, depends on the other income for all other income from that person. And it started from zero because a lot of people, when they do not have income, the Social Security is not taxable at all. And then it gets up to 80% of the Social Security will be taxable.
I think it's 85.
Income, but
anyway.
If the income is getting higher.
Yeah.
Now, the passive loss or passive income, it depends on the rental properties. And if they have with the depreciation, if they have an income or they have a loss. Usually, a lot of properties have a loss, and that loss will reduce other incomes, and then also will cause that the Social Security won't be taxable.
Won't be affected.
It really depends on the all the income, doesn't matter passive or active or portfolio. Some incomes are portfolio. So then dividend, capital gain, maybe capital gain suddenly comes out. And even though there is going to be $25,000 max of passive loss, still the capital gain will increase the amount of income, and then it also suddenly 75-80% of the Social Security will be taxable. So really it depends on everybody's individual taxpayer's income.
You heard it here. Do you want to come up and do the rest of this?
These are accountants.
I kind of figured that, but no, thank you. Very, very well put. Yes, sir.
Do we pay Social Security taxes on Social Security income?
I think that's what we just talked about.
Social Security taxes. So for the one that we get, do we pay SSN taxes on this?
You mean that we pay Social Security?
No, you don't. You don't pay. No, I don't think.
Usually they are not required to pay all the federal and state taxes on the Social Security. But when you go to the Social Security Administration or apply for it, then you will request that I want, because I have some other incomes like I have a lot of gains, or I have a lot of dividends, or everything else that I have it. I know that my tax is going to be high, so I will ask the Social Security to withhold 20% of my Social Security, and they do not pay me, they pay directly to the IRS, and when they issue the form, they issue that, okay, so much Social Security was paid, and so much tax was withheld for federal and state. It's the same as a W-2 that you're getting.
البته سوالشون اینه فکر کنم که روی سوشال سکیوریتی شما سوشال سکیوریتی میدین.
No.
You don't.
That's what no. The Social Security is not an active income. The only time that you pay Social Security is when you have an active income. Not passive, not portfolio, not Social Security income, which is also not.
I still think you should come over and do it. Yeah.
So if one spouse is over 67
right.
and receiving Social Security, the
Uh-huh.
other spouse is younger and earning money,
right.
would that also be considered income that is subject to?
Well, it depends on how you file your taxes. Jointly? Well, ask the That really is a tax question, yeah.
بیشتر سوالا الان داره میره راجع به تکس، در حالی که ایشون راجع به سوشال سکیوریتی دیسابیلیتی، یعنی کسی که واقعا یه اتفاقی براش افتاده و باید یه درآمدی داشته. ما فکر می‌کنیم ایشون
Okay, so I have no idea what she said, but I agree with all of it.
I'm saying that you
Yeah,
were
no,
here
I
for
know.
social
That's kind of what I thought, actually. So.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so disability insurance. Okay, now this is actually something that I know anything about. So here we go. Disability insurance. There are two ways to get disability insurance from the federal government. One is what we call SSDI, Social Security Disability Insurance. This comes down to those credits that we talked about before. When you put money into Social Security, you collect a certain amount of credits. After you stop working, those credits are still on the books, and they start to deteriorate, go down after time. And after a while, you run out of these credits. Okay? Think of it as end of insurance. Okay. Now, if you become disabled to the point where you can't work, you can collect Social Security disability if you still have some of this insurance left. It has to start before you become disabled. So, if you have worked and you stop working for some reason, and then a year afterwards, something happens that makes it impossible for you to work, if you still have those credits, you can go and apply for Social Security disability. Now, in order to get that, you have to show that you cannot do any type of work in the general community. You can't do the work that you did before, and you can't do any other type of work. And they have a sliding scale depending on what type of work that you should not be able to do, depending on how old you are. The magic age here is 50. If you are 50 or older, it is much easier for you to qualify for Social Security disability. If you are younger than 50, they'll hold you to a higher standard, so it's more difficult for you to get Social Security disability. When you first apply for Social Security disability, the overwhelming majority of people get denied. It is very difficult. That's when the attorneys step into the mix. And usually, when I get a client, it's because they've received this letter from Social Security saying, we're denying your benefits. So they come into me, and I file an appeal with them. It is the first line of appeal to the Social Security Administration. That's when I try to figure out what it is, what kind of issues they have. Unlike workers' compensation, the Social Security Administration consider any problems that you have in your life, whether or not it's caused by work, whether or not it's caused by not work, whether it's caused by your wife. It doesn't matter, okay? If it is something that affects you physically or mentally, it can qualify you for Social Security disability. For example, you have a bad back. That by itself probably would not qualify you for Social Security disability. But in addition to that bad back, you're also taking lots of medications, which has sort of deteriorated your interior. Now you're having liver problems as a result of all the medications that you're taking, and you can't do anything like play, catch with your son. You can't go on hikes with your wife. So this starts to create depression for you as well. So all of these things combined, you wonder, is this something that would make me not employable? Sometimes the answer is yes. It certainly could be for things that you might not know about. For example, let's say you have seizures. It's a great example. Seizures that you don't really know when they're going to come about. Can happen at any time. Would you hire someone that you knew would be gone one day a week, randomly, throughout their employment with you? You don't know when it's going to happen. I don't think many of you would hire that person. And the same is true for these vocational experts that they use in Social Security. They're also saying that, well, if that's the case, then no, I wouldn't be able to hire them. Or it creates sleeping problems, so that throughout the entire day you're drowsy. as you can't focus on what you were doing before. Also something that can be used to get Social Security disability. Social Security disability is if they deny your first appeal, you can then request a hearing on that appeal. Here's where it gets a little bit tricky, because they are so backlogged in Social Security right now that currently it takes approximately 2 years to get a hearing to determine if you can work. How are you supposed to be able to support yourself if you can't get Social Security benefits and you have to wait 2 years? You don't have any means of support. And this is an enormous issue for people who apply for Social Security disability. So that is...
How can you speed it up?
How can you can't?
There's no way.
No, because it's the federal government. They have to hire more judges. If you have a limited supply of judges and you have an increased demand for those judges, it has to come to a loggerhead at some point in time. Yes, sir.
So when you appeal the denial first time,
Yeah.
does it have to go to hearing, or can you usually settle it before it goes down to hearing? Or does every case have, everybody has to wait after appeal for 2 years?
No. After the first denial that they get, I file a reconsideration of that denial. And that takes approximately 6 months. And what you try to do then is that you try to supply them with as much information as possible to show that this person is in fact disabled. Some people get approved for benefits after that first appeal, after that reconsideration. Yes, after that 6 months, approximately. It's after you get that denial, that's when you start to request a hearing. And that is the process that can take about 2 years. So, now, if you have not worked, and you don't have all these credits built up, you don't have this insurance built up, you can apply for something called SSI. And this is basically disability payments if you're poor. That's exactly what it is. It works the same way as SSDI. You can't do any work in the community, but they don't have the requirement that you have insurance remaining on the books, but you cannot have more than, I believe it is $4,000 total.
So that the second one you talked about.
Yeah,
you
SSI.
have to be considered indigent, right?
Yes.
And you cannot have any liquid assets.
Correct.
In your, and if you do, it gets...
You're denied. You don't qualify.
At any point, they can also access your funds and ask for
Yes.
things.
Yes, that's what they do.
So you cannot have any liquidity whatsoever.
Right. You have to prove that you in fact are indigent, for lack of a better term. Yes. That's
Okay.
exactly right.
Anybody needs anything in Farsi?
I'm sorry, what age was that? The one that you were talking about?
SSI?
Yeah.
There's no age.
At any age?
At any age.
If you don't completely have any income whatsoever.
Right, but you have to be unable to work. And the same standards are for this SSI as there are for SSDI, where it's easier to get the older you are.
Got it.
So you can get it when you're a teenager, but it's very difficult to get it when you're a teenager. Whereas if you're really old, say 50, kidding, then it is easier to get.
Is there a limit for amount of SSI or?
Yes, there is. It is not much. It's under $2,000. Under $2,000 from
Social Security.
Well, this is Social Security.
Well, SSI, you said there's.
No. SSI is much less. Absolutely. SSI, we're talking. I usually see numbers around like $600-700 a month. Yeah. So when people get that, they go, "Oh my gosh, there's no way I can live off this," and I said, "You're right." Yeah. So it's certainly nothing that you would get to live the high life at all. But it's better than nothing. And I think that's the point.
So if somebody qualifies for SSI, do they also get housing stipend and food stamps and stuff?
They can
like
get
that?
food stamps, but I don't. Maybe they qualify for Section 8 housing as well. But yeah, whatever it is that they can qualify for. And please keep in mind that the Social Security Administration, believe it or not, are actually quite helpful. If you have questions, especially for things not involving disability insurance, they will answer questions. You can go online. You can find out if you qualify for at a certain age, or what your benefits would be if you retire with your spouse, for example. They will gladly tell you any and all of that. As a matter of fact, you should create your account at ssa.org.gov. Yeah, that's right. ssa.gov to see what they have in terms of income and what you can qualify for, what your spouse could qualify for, what your dependents could qualify for.
So for what situation people hire you as an attorney? For when they get denied?
Yes, that's exactly
and then
right.
Who pays you if they're low income and they don't have money?
Yeah.
Who pays you?
Right. I get paid 25% of the retroactive benefits that I get for a person. So let's say that you apply now, and let's say that you don't get benefits for 2 years because it's so backed up. So by the time that you get your benefits, let's say you get $500 a month. Okay, that's $6,000 a year times 2 years is $12,000, which means I get 25% of that, or $3,000. So, but then they keep on getting those $500 after that, and I don't get any of that.
Right.
Yeah, I only get what it is that I bring to them.
I have a question.
Yeah.
People that they work in the country and paid Social Security,
Yeah.
and then they get disabled.
Yeah.
If they have any minor children, then the government pays for the cost of raising that kid.
Oh, you can get that. That is a dependent benefit.
Yeah.
Yes, you can get dependent benefits if you are disabled and you have minor children. One thing that I wanted to bring, and I thought maybe this would be the perfect crowd to talk to it about. What about collecting Social Security benefits if you live out of the country? Okay, so if you are a U.S. citizen, you can go and live in basically any country. Few exceptions. I think North Korea is a good exception for it. So if you have a hankering to go and live in North Korea, you're not going to be, I'm sorry, you probably can't collect Social Security.
How about Utah?
Utah. I don't think anything gets into Utah. So here's the thing. The United States have something what they call totalitarian agreements with certain countries, which means that they basically compare notes and say, how much has he earned for you? How much has he earned for us? And they come up with an amount that you can get if you live in one country or the other. Sweden, for example, has one of those totalization agreements with the United States. And I looked it up. Iran does not. This probably doesn't surprise you, but just so you know, it does not. But I did not see anywhere where it said that you could not get Social Security benefits if you live in Iran and you are a United States citizen. But if you are not a U.S. citizen, what I found out is that if you live in Iran, let's say, then you would have to come back to the United States and live in the United States for 1 month every 6 months in order to collect Social Security benefits. So if you like going back and forth a lot.
So for retirement, we can't go back in Iran because then you're going to...
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yeah, of course.
Then you can.
You can't or can't.
Can.
But then can't collect the Social Security.
Yes, you can. But if you are not a U.S. citizen, you have to come back and live in the U.S.
Oh, I see.
once
if you have a green card.
Once a month. If you have a green card. Thank you. By the way, what a shock it was to me to figure out that a green card was not green. Who knew, right?
So green card holders can also benefit from disability and all this stuff.
Absolutely. Yes, you do not have to be a citizen to collect that. That is correct. Yes, sir.
Okay.
And I think, well,
But
what can I
not
say?
Social Security, right?
Yeah.
Well, if they haven't lived here, they just got here and got a green card, they haven't really put any money in.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was working under the assumption that they had collected these 40 credits.
I threw a curveball.
Yeah, you did. You know. Whoosh. Yeah. Okay.
One more question here.
Yes, sir.
Somebody who is 55 and receiving Social Security disability.
Uh-huh.
Now, no, this is the second question. Did they qualify for Medicare automatically?
After 24 months.
Regardless of income, how much they are receiving?
Yeah. I think so. I believe so. If you have Social Security disability, no wait, maybe there is a. Hang on a second here. You asked about Medicare, yes?
Medicare.
Medicare, yeah. Mm-hmm. You have to be over 62 in order to get Medicare if you have had Social Security disability. If you're over 62, if you've had Social Security payments for 24 months. 62. Sir.
How much pension can affect Social Security? Pension, receiving pension?
Mm-hmm. Are you getting both?
Yeah, that's my question.
Okay.
At
Well,
the age of 67, if you get pension,
Uh-huh.
does it affect your Social Security income?
No, it shouldn't. I don't think it's counted based upon what credits you have with Social Security. Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
The question: if somebody is at 55 of age and is on disability,
I think
is
that's
it going
what
to affect
Mohammed-
SSI at age 67?
No, it gets transferred over from SSDI to Social Security retirement.
Yeah. What if somebody is a homemaker and is not married? So how this person's status is gonna have?
Has this person been married before?
Okay, no. Let's assume that she was never married and she was a homemaker.
Then how did she make a living?
I don't know.
We have an Iranian joke for that.
Just forget it.
She was a homemaker and she never worked.
I don't think that type of occupation is qualified under Social Security.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyways, okay. That is what I have. So thank you again for allowing me to come and talk to you.